Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joel Sked and I am joined once again by Tom Irving. How's it going, Tom?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yes, very well, very well. All good. We are here to discuss Musa Drammeh, the latest recruit from Heart of Midlothian. He has signed a 3-year deal after exiting Sevilla. He spent, I think it was 2.5 years with Sevilla's B team, playing in what was the fourth tier
Yeah.
of Spanish football. Tom, you of course wrote a piece for the site that went out today, looking at what Hearts fans can expect, having watched a wee bit of them, looked into the data. So that's essentially what we are here to discuss. Meant to say on the last one, thankfully, I don't actually have I don't think I have a script, a sponsor's message to read out at the moment. So we have been. We've not all not been subjected to that, so we will just get cracking with looking at Musa Drammeh. So, like I said, signed a 3-year deal, is the fifth signing of the summer. Expect maybe one or two more. I believe Danda will be announced some point this week, I would imagine. If not today, then tomorrow, with the team returning to pre-season. He had a lot of offers before he signed for Hearts. He had a lot of interest in January from the English Championship club. So, just on your first view, what was your main takeaway from watching him, Tom?
Yeah, so the fourth tier of Spanish football is not one I've ever watched before, actually. So I was really happy to see that that Sevilla actually stream all of their games online. So there is quite a bit of footage all on him on YouTube, which is great. You know, if any other fans want to have a look at him, the standard was really impressive. It is it's a fourth tier. There's a lot of clubs in the third and fourth tier, but Sevilla finished top. They seemed like probably the best team in the whole of fourth tier. Of there's 5 groups of 80, so there's actually 90 teams in that tier. So yeah, they were one of the best teams at that level, and yeah, they played really good football. Had good shape, good tactically. Everyone seemed pretty good technically, which was good to see. Always an uncertainty when you watch a new league. You're not kind of sure what to expect. But yeah, really enjoyed the standard. It was a bit different from Scottish football, but one thing that Drammeh said himself was that he thinks he's not sure about the tiki-taka kind of way of Spanish football, and he thinks a little bit more of a direct game will be good for him in his game, his own personal game, which is quite good to see, because we often see kind of players coming from more technical leagues and struggling to
Adapt.
Yeah, exactly, to the physical side of it. But it seems like either he or his agents kind of said to him, "Look, this is going to be ideal for your style of football." So he knows what he's coming into. He's not coming blindly into the league, which is good to see. As a player, he's pretty big. He's got 6'2", I think, and he's pretty physically, sizably, kind of strong looking.
Yes, he is. From what I understand, he is a big laddie, and it's very, very noticeable when standing next to him and seeing him. He's not only big, but a very confident guy as well.
Yeah, exactly. Big, confident. He's direct. He likes to go at players. He likes to. He seems pretty entertaining, which is good to see. The games I watched, he was out wide of the kind of 3 and behind the striker, and he's what I liked in my wide players. He had his heels to the sidelines, and was looking to get the ball out wide, so he had more of space to kind of exploit in behind. When he wasn't out wide, he was making kind of sharp, smart runs off the shoulder of the defenders to kind of exploit his pace and get in behind for kind of one-on-one situations with the goalie.
So when you mentioned that he likes to stay really wide, so when he gets the ball out wide, is he someone who will take on the fullback and get in the box, or is he someone who is who plays wide, but his kind of first thought is to get involved centrally when the ball kind of gets into those areas?
Yeah, from what I saw, he looked like he wanted to kind of have a go at the defender. Like you said, he seems like a pretty confident guy, and I think we can see that when you're looking at his data. He did try quite a lot of dribbles and accelerations, progressive runs, stuff like that. So I feel like he is one that I would like to go at players, but if we see his kind of style change when he joins us, I guess I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out soon, I suppose.
And in terms of the position, like looking at it, he's quite versatile as a forward. He can play through the middle, or he can play as one of the three attacking players behind a striker. Just from what you have seen, where do you think he will fit into the Naismith system, and where do you think he's probably his best position will be when it comes to time? Because of course we are a team that can play with a back four or a back three, wing backs or wide men.
Yeah, I feel like he'll probably play mostly on the right side of that kind of front 3/4, depending on the formation that we're playing. We're all hoping that Shanklin stays and will be that kind of focal point of the attack. I think that he's going to be kind of pushing the likes of Oda and Vargas on the right hand side. And maybe even Forrest. I guess he's probably been playing more on the left hand side though, but probably in contention with those kind of players, opposed to the likes of probably Tagawa and Shanklin, that I would say are going to be more of our centre forward options.
And I think the good thing is, and we'll get to this shortly, is that he's a completely different profile to anyone else that we already have, which is massive. I was talking to a mate recently when I was saying about how the club were looking to bring in another forward who can play wide or can through the middle, and it was like questions like, do we need someone there? And I kind of said I'd quite like someone who is powerful and pacey. And we've landed. That's what Musa seems like. He is. He ticks both of those boxes. And he mentioned that he would have quite liked to see a kind of Stephen Humphreys like player who is mobile, who can deal with the physical side of the game, but can, as we saw, play wide or play through the middle as a striker who running behind. And again, looking at Musa, just from listening to yourself and reading what you wrote, and then listening to the player and Naismith talk about, he does seem to kind of fit into that mold.
Yeah, I would. So when I was watching him, two players popped in my mind. He's different in a lot of ways to these two players, and these two players are pretty different in kind of profile to each other. But Osman Sow and Ellis Sims kind of came to my mind again.
Right.
He's very different in a lot of ways, but just that kind of, he's tall, he's got quite long limbs, he's a bit unconventional in technique and stuff. He doesn't fit the little silky Spanish typical player that we used to see, but it's not a bad thing. It's kind of it works for him, I guess. But yeah, he is pretty big and direct like that. So yeah, like I said, he's different in a lot of ways, but they kind of were the two that popped in my mind when I was first watching him.
And it does seem like, listening to you there, that he will ride a wee bit of an X factor to the team, in that he is, not only is he big and quick, but what you're saying is because of his size, he can unconventional, could be quite awkward to deal with, especially out wide. He's got that presence where, let's face it, you could probably hit a diagonal to him. So it is. It does seem like a positive signing, and something that you mentioned within your article was that we've obviously brought in Penrice, Dander's coming in, Spittle's come in, and obviously Ryan Fulton, that discounting that because he's a goalkeeper. But then the Musa, Daniel Oyogoki, and potentially Gerald Taylor, they all kind of are young guys with potential, and these are the guys who'll come in, and which we'll come on to talk about. And Graham's put a comment in there that they'll have to take a wee bit of time to get used to the league. But if you look at the profile, young, physical, kind of big and like powerful, and that is something that I think all Hearts fans would agree that probably the team needs a bit more of. And you said it when it's coming up against European sides, coming up against Old Firm, is that the team could do with being just a bit more dynamic, a bit more powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've got a lot of players that I absolutely love, like Cammy Devlin and Benny and Vargas and stuff. And they're fighters and they're little scrappy players. But when you see Vargas or Devlin coming up against Cameron Carter Vickers or something like that, or the likes of Lundstrom or something, they just bounce off them. And to no fault of their own, they're just literally about half the size of them, you know. And we see that quite a lot of the time in Europe. They're a bit bigger, more physical. Like when we played PAOK, we struggled with the physicality, I think, a little bit as well. But these kind of signings are not only good enough technically, and they've got a bit of experience and good backgrounds. They are also, physically probably a step above quite a lot of players that we've already got in our squad, which is good to see. I think that's kind of the step forward and to help us kind of get better in Europe and progress a little bit. It's going to be probably pretty essential in my eyes.
And I think it's important to note that Graham says here he's only 22 and need time to settle, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he'll offer, and he'll bring us something different that we have. And this kind of goes back to stuff that Naismith's comments quite often. He's been quite consistent with it, and then going back to last summer where it took like Neuenhoff time to get up to speed, maybe to Gawa pretty much the whole season, and then Vargas as well, where he adapted quite well to the kind of. I'd actually adapted quite well to the physical and the battling side of Scottish football, but did take him time to find the back of the net and find his feet in terms of productivity angle. But you look at someone like Musa's, that I think there might be appreciation now from fans, like, right, we can just be patient. He's not expecting them to come in, but especially if Shankland stays, not expecting them to come in and score loads of goals. You can have a bit more time because you've got different options there where you're not having to push them and force them to play constantly.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like if we can start kind of matching Shankland's goal tally through the rest of our kind of attacking players, that three or whatever that sit behind them, that's going to be very beneficial, even if that's a case of sharing those 30-odd goals between 6 or 7 different players. It's going to be hugely beneficial for us. And it'd probably be the difference between us competing with the 2 or 3 teams below us and pushing to that better level and trying to compete with Rangers and Celtic. But easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we may as well just finish up on this because we're just going to keep it short and sharp today. Is that Graham does mention, only thing I think we still need is another DM to cover Benny, who probably won't play every game. Tom, if everyone went to your Twitter page at Irving Analysis, they'll see that you did a depth chart with the squad, and we kind of talked about it on Twitter about Naismith once in terms of the squad size. When I spoke to him a few months ago, when asked about kind of ideal squad size, he said, I think it was like 22, 23 players supplemented by between 4 and 6 younger players. So you're looking at 27, 29. When I spoke to him on Friday, he talked about the inevitably just keep a couple of bodies for the because playing in Europe, and then obviously we've got boys coming back, Craig Halkett coming back, Barry Mackay coming back, guys who we didn't really see last season, who or for large chunks of last season, that they're back in as well, and they've been working hard ahead of kind of pre-season. But looking at the squad depth, would you agree with Graham that maybe another DM to cover Benny is something that the team need? Because we have quite a few centre midfielders.
Yeah, we do. Potentially, because we are seeing Devlin pushing quite further up, and I think Hoff, he probably would like to play a little bit higher up. And they both might kind of sit a little bit deeper quite often, but I don't think they're defensive midfielders. So Benny is probably our only kind of starting 11 defensive midfielders, and had that injury kept him out for what felt like an eternity. He should be back to full fitness now, but it would be great, I'd probably say, to get another, like I said in the article that I wrote a couple of weeks ago about potential signings. I think what Keogh should have been, or what Haring kind of was for a while, a bigger physical DM role player who can win headers in the middle of the park and stuff like that, because we don't really have one. When you've got the likes of Cammy and Benny being that focal point, trying to win headers and stuff against, most people, it's not going to work out well. So I feel like that's discrediting them a little bit, but in the Scottish game, we've got to kind of expect those long balls quite often, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree that I think you're looking at where we kind of talked about the profile of the three guys, or if you include Taylor, the three guys who are have been or hope to be signed. In that, I wouldn't say no to a defensive midfielder like that kind of profile where they're kind of big, physical, and powerful. That will always help. Like you mentioned, Keogh, like when he first came into the team as number 6, just someone who reads the game really quickly, can gobble up loose balls, provides a physical presence, and like I said, is good in there. I know Naismith sees Macaulay Tate as a number 6, kind of go in for the future, but again, it's his number 6 is not strictly like a defensive midfielder, and again, a different profile to the one that we just kind of talked about. In terms of bringing in another one, I think it's a position that the club will monitor. I don't think it's a massive priority at the moment, but I think it's if someone that is attractive proposition, then I think they may act on. But again, you're looking at the squad, and like I said, it's probably now got to the point where you're looking at who will be leaving rather than making a number of other signings.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it'll be the case of if there's someone comes up that it's too hard to say no to, and we've got a little bit of cash. I think we mentioned in the past, either Budge or McKinley mentioned in the past that we got a little bit of cash to spend. So if something comes up, I doubt we'll say no to it, but it depends if it's the right option that's really going to take us to the next level or not, because we don't essentially need it. It's more of a luxury, I would say, any more players.
Yeah, and I think Naismith's idea, and now they're basically getting into a more reactive approach, whereas reactive in terms of if there's someone who they've been monitoring comes available, they'll act on, or if they see someone with who they think could be beneficial down the line, they'll act on. And then on the flip side, if a key player leaves, that's when, for example, Shanklin and Cochran, they may act on that. Tom, we'll leave it there because I know you have got plans at 5:15. So we just thought we'd just jump on, talk about the new signing, have a wee chat, and then see where it took us. I'll probably be back later on the week because James is back from holiday on Thursday. So I might do a video to catch him up on all things Hearts that he has missed out on since he's been drinking copious amounts of beer in Germany. So until then, thank you very much, everyone, for continuing to listen, support, subscribe, engage. Be sure to go onto the site. We've got Tom's piece looking at Musa Drammeh, kind of a lot of stuff we've talked about here, but in written form, there's a data graph as well. A piece has just gone up about Barry involves Barry Mackay, but looking at players, how they've been preparing for pre-season. Spoke to a coach who's been working with the likes of Mackay, Craig Halkett and Aidan Denham ahead of the new season. And then there's also an interview with Stephen Naismith where he talks about the kind of recruitment, the state of play, his stance on the squad size, etc., etc. So plenty for you to check out. So until we are back probably later in the week, have a good rest of the week, and thank you very much and goodbye.
See you guys.